right. So, welcome everyone to SafuLane. Tonight, our discussion and our topic is going to be introduction to on-chain analysis. So, this is another class section we're having this week. Today is Thursday, and I believe we've learning and we've learned a lot from different class sections we've had in the past. So tonight, let's quickly dive into what is on-chain analysis and how do we understand and visualize all these things. So there are some tools we are going to be exploring together tonight on-chain analysis, but we need to understand some basic concept, the way it works, you understand, so that we'll be able to know what we exactly we are doing. When we are talking about on-chain analysis, we are trying to monitor what is ongoing on the blockchain. So it can be the Ethereum blockchain, it can be the Bitcoin blockchain, it can be the BNB blockchain. And having some of these tools, like the current one I'm presenting, please, can we all see my screen? Please.
No, we are not
I,
seeing the
I
screen.
oh,
We
sorry.
are not seeing the screen.
All right. Let me start sharing my screen. For a while, I thought I was sharing my screen. Okay, so how about now?
Yes, you can see your screen.
All right, cool. So yeah. So let me quickly continue from where I stopped. So we need to understand some things. So I'll try to break it down to how we can get it to understand it in a more clear and better way. So the first thing is, what is on-chain data? So we can just refer on-chain data to be transactions that are recorded on blockchain. These are like our normal transaction that whenever we go to all these our Ethereum scan, we can see all these transactions, we can see the records. So like for example, I can just try to maybe go to Ethereum scan to okay, we have, for example, we have this particular um person that I wanna give away the last time, which was Pascal. So I right here, I want to track what happened to what happened to the transaction that was being made. So this is a transaction I want to track from BSC Scan Explorer. So me doing that, it is more or less of a way that I'm trying to check the on-chain data that was that the data of how the transaction went is all about. So this is an example of an on-chain data. So and mainly to track an on-chain data, you might probably need the transaction hash. So from there, what are the things I'm going to see? I'm going to see information like this, the status, which whether it is pending, it is either failed or it went through successfully. Then you see the timestamps, you see the block number of which it is confirmed. That is when it is completely approved. So then you see the transfer action from which address to which address. Then you get to see which token is being transferred and the contract address. Every details of these are included. Then you can try to even get to see more details about, okay, how much was the gas fee that was spent on this particular data. So this is an example of an on-chain data that is being recorded on the BSC scan. So now, what do we need to, do to understand even uh on-chain data more? So that is when we dive into on-chain analysis, because we understand that all these data are available on the blockchain, and that is why we are calling them on-chain data. But right here, we want to predict markets, we want to predict trends, we want to predict, okay, if this are happening on the blockchain, how can we make profits? How can we be profitable to it? We don't want to depend on external data. We want to be able to do our own researches. So that is where we move into using tools like either Dune or all these nonsense tools. So from there, let's quickly understand the reason why we are trying to analyze data that are on chain. So the main reason is we want to be able to predict the trend of the market. We want to be able to predict what is going to happen in the next coming days. We want to be able to predict what the future of the project we are investing on. So right there, we are going to be diving into how to use some of this platform. So one of the most popular what is it called? One of the most popular on-chain analysis tools that we all have come across, it is this Glassnode tools. We always see it in a lot of solutions, but we don't understand. Okay, we don't really get to know that it is Glassnode. So I'm coming back to that. I will explain everything. So we have different tools that we can use. We have, for example, the one currently being presented to us is Nansen. We can use it to analyze data on chain, which makes it easier for us because it can actually just help us visualize a lot of things. Like instead of me trying to be looking at all these data that are scattered, this is still not bad because for they've been able to give us more visual representation of it. But we have better tools that can just tell us, okay, this is the section we need to look. We want to see where the money is coming from. This is the section we need to look if we want to see where the money is going into. So that is why that is the main reason we have platform like Nansen. We also have another one called Dune. So this is another platform that can also help us track on-chain data and what is going on on any transaction on the blockchain. So right there, we still have a lot of things to check together. So I'm going to be taking it one step at the other. So we also need to understand the reason why we are doing all this. The reason why we are doing all this is we probably maybe on a project want to understand, okay, how much profit or loss have been realized on this particular project. Most of the time there are some projects that are only available on the decentralized exchange. So we want to be able to, check how many buys do they have, how many sell do they have easily, or how many addresses are buying huge volume and are holding on to it. How many addresses have been buying for long? When we have all these information, we'll be able to analyze better. We'll be able to have precise uh more precise prediction on whatever action we want to take. So that is why we need to use all these tools. We need to be one step ahead of any other trader. We need to think more smart on whatever we are doing. So before we start looking into how do we use these tools, how do we understand how to use them properly, how do we understand how to use them efficiently, we also need to understand what is the reason why we are calling on-chain data, and we need to understand the reason why we still have another acronym which is called off-chain. The same way we have on-chain, we have off-chains. So now, what are off-chains? Because we need to understand the two of them. So now we already know that on-chain data, these are like data we get to see either on the blockchain, either through things. Either through two things. On Ethereum, we have proof of stake, which we all know as POS. It is available on some blockchain, and we also have proof of work, which is called POW. So these are the way we have our miners, the people who code miners. They verify transaction and they record the transaction on the blockchain. So it is either through proof of work or through proof of stake. So when these are being done by miners, then we get to see the record of that particular data on the blockchain. So like what I was saying is For example, on this BSC transaction, if the miner have not completed that proof of work, is not going to be is not going to be having a success tick that it is having here. It will probably be pending. So that take us to that take us to really understand that um whenever we have transaction being on the pending status, it shows us that something is going on. It requires more confirmation from the miners, which can be either done through proof of work, POW consensus system, or POS consensus system. So when we understand that, we will see that okay, this shows that there are transactions going on the chain, and that is why we call it on chain. But like I said, we have the other one, which we call off chain. So now, off chain, they are usually referred to transactions that are verified and recorded outside the blockchain. Like you might not see what is happening currently, like the way we are being able to analyze, okay, what happened when I send my money out, when it is confirmed, who are the people confirming it? You don't get to see that. So what happened is that the transactions are recorded outside the blockchain, and we just get to see that okay, the money we've tried to send out from our address have been received at the other end. So basically, these are the type of blockchain we start referring to as layer 2 nowadays. So, for example, part of layer 2 blockchain is this ZK. I don't know. Have anyone come across ZK sync before? I just want to be sure that we all are tagging along with this particular topic. Okay, so let me just continue. So, like I was saying, this L2, these off-chain data, they are the opposite of on-chain data, so which I refer to as layer 2 chain. So now let's quickly move to the way we can, actually analyze and also make use of all these tools. Don't forget, I made mention of 3 tools that we can use. We have the glass node, but the glass node might be a little bit complicated, but because it has to do with more graphical charts, dealing with graphical charts, trying to check price movements, trying to understand how this has to do with having a close touch of you being a professional trader. So that is this type of solution is what we have in Dex tools. Let me show you. So exactly. So Dex tools is fetching data from all these what was it called, from the contract, but at the same time, the contract is not presenting a graphical chart like this. So when we need to analyze on-chain data, so part of the technology being used here is the same as what we are referring to as Glassnode. So Glassnode is just a technology that presents to us a chart for to analyze what is happening on a contract. Because if I'm to go to this contract, this is the contract address right here, BTCB. If I'm to click on it, then go to it, you will see that probably what I'm going to be seeing is just buying and selling. I'm not going to be seeing a proper chart of what is actually going on. Like, for example, you can see in 14 seconds, a call was made, but what was the call about? What happened? You understand? So from here, I won't be able to get enough data as supposed to be. So that is why we do make use of Dex tools, because Dex tools is like an analysis tool that help us to get into knowing what market cap is, the liquidity, the orders, the total supply, the 24 hours volume, and then we have this chart. So now we want to go into further analysis. We want to go deeper, and that is when we start using other monitoring tools. Because when we are talking about analyzing data, we need to understand that we need tools to analyze a lot of things about a project. So now, what Dexter is going to give us is just all these charts. It can show us some buys and sell, but we need more data than this. We need to know, okay, what is the transaction volume happening in a day, the last month, or the past 3 years, or the past 4 years. So we need all this information. We need to know, okay, how many addresses are active. We can't see all these on Dex2. If I'm trying to check, yeah, I can't see active addresses on Dex2. So it shows that if I'm just using Dex2 to analyze, I might not be able to get some information. I might not be able to get what is the those addresses that are active, what other project are they holding on to? When I know what other project these addresses are holding on to, I will be able to determine, okay, we have like 100 addresses out of 500 and something holders here. We have 100 addresses that have been a long-term holder in a lot of projects. So, but right here, I'm unable to check all this information. So it shows that Dex2 is not enough for me for my analysis. Then another thing is I need to see what the TVL is. The TVL means what is the total value logged of the asset. This is going to show, okay, if I know the TVL, it will show me and allow me to be able to access how are people demanding to buy this particular token. How are people trying to adopt the utility or the the innovation this project is bringing into the market. So, and also another thing that I'm not able to analyze there is I'm unable to get what is the realized profits and losses on this particular trade. If I'm able to know, okay, like this is it. The data here are not enough. I can only say holders. I'm not saying active address. I don't know if these addresses have been active for the past few days. I can see my position, then price alert, then my swap. That is for my personal transaction, but I need more details about the project. So, like if we are going to conclude on this, Dex2 is not enough. So we need to go into using tools like Dune. Dune is going to show us a lot of things happening on the project. So, I thought I've logged in on this because I do use Dune, and I will encourage all of us to also use these tools as well. We have Dune. We can also try what is it called? We have Dune. We have Nansen. We can also try out using I've forgotten. It's skipped my mind. Maybe when I remember while we're trying to um you know discuss this topic. So because when we start seeing Dune, when we start checking all these, like for example, the first thing I get to see on Dune is the total DEX trading volume. Like what have been the progress of how people are trading on decentralized exchange. So we can all see that it is decreasing. So it shows us, when we have this data, we're able to make decisions. So it shows us that in April, a lot of people were investing and putting money. So we have a data of about 460 billion ATH during April. June, it was more okay. At the end of April, it went so up. June, it was a little bit coming down at average level. And right here, we can see what happened during August. And October, we can see although we are still in the middle of October, so we don't know where it is going to end. So it shows us that from here we can determine the right time to invest, the right time not to invest. So there are a lot of things to still, check on, research on. Let me see if I can search directly. Okay, cool. I can search because I have some things we are going to be searching from this particular analysis tool. But I hope we are taking note of some things we are trying to point out. The main reason why we are doing all this on-chain analysis. So we also want to try and see some things, like we want to see what the value of the market uh capital of a project is. And we talk about adoption, we talk about um you know how people see an asset. So how people see an asset depends on how they are using the utility. Like for example, we can say, for example, if a token is being used as the primary token for payment on the marketplace. A marketplace, I mean, like maybe a shopping marketplace, we tend to see its usage more. We tend to see more people holding on to it. So this is when we call up. I mean, this is when we tend to, read some of this data on chain. This is when we tend to analyze some of this data on chain. Don't forget, we are comparing two tools together using Nansen and using Dune. So, and whenever we're trying to access this platform, don't forget there are a lot of scams in crypto. We need to make sure that the URL is correct. I mean, make sure you're accessing the official URL, because if you connect or get involved in a wrong URL, give me some minutes to just clear my throat. All right. So sorry for the little break. Okay, so let's continue. So we can see this is the right address, nansen.ai, then slash portfolio. So let's check for the Dune as well, dune.com/home. So please always make sure that we are accessing the right URL. So in our previous lessons, I think several times we've made use of Dex tools to search for a lot of things. So um I'm going to share with us what are the things we can do with Dune and what are the things we can do on Nansen. So yeah, one of the things we can try to use Dune for, this is Dune. So one of the things we can use this Dune for is basically Dune provide us some analytical data on what is happening. Okay, let's search for example Arbitrum. I want to check something on Arbitrum for every one of us to see how useful this tool is. So let me just search. So this is Arbitrum. So once I search, it's going to show different query that people have pulled from Arbitrum. So right there, I want to see how many people received Arbitrum airdrop. This is an analysis from what someone you know pulled from the Arbitrum chain. So I can just click on it. Then when I click on it, let's see. Let's see the results we are going to get. Cool. So now this is showing me the airdrop summary of Arbitrum, showing me the number of people that received the airdrop. 625,000 addresses received the airdrop. And what was the total value of airdrop that was done in Arbitrum? When I get to see this data, it shows me, or it gives me this confidence of, having data at my fingertip to take my next decision on, do I think it's worth investing on Arbitrum or not? So for me, I can see the total airdrop. Oh, sorry. I think that was a problem for my network. So I can see the total number of airdrop. So this is what we are calling on-chain analysis. I'm already doing on-chain analysis through what I'm trying to research on Arbitrum. So I can see the number of airdrop that is that was received by someone. I can see the average airdrop that was sent. The lowest airdrop was 625. So the person that was given airdrop at the lowest value will even receive 625 ARB token, which is a very good amount. So it shows that Arbitrum did one of the largest, or let's say much huge volume of airdrop this year. So now I can still get to understand more details about Arbitrum. We have other things I can check. Okay, let me check. I don't know if every one of us have been seeing friend tech. Let me see if friend tech can come up here. So let me try to see if I can see some analysis being done on FriendTech. All right. So now on FriendTech, let me track FriendTech Trader. This is, you know, like when you get to some point, you can also run your own query, pull your query out, and run your query on Dune. That is one of the, good advantage of using Dune. So, yeah, like here now, I can see this data I'm trying to check. So this is the total spend volume on aggregate, and this is investment of people. You can see their total username, you can see their addresses, you can see their total investment. So this is really cool because it saves me time on checking things. So from here I can actually check, people are trying to use FriendTech. They don't know the account to buy. So it makes it easier for me to just, scroll up, see people name and their addresses, because when I see this name, I can know that, okay, this is their total username. This is the amount they've invested. And I can even check their transactions, their on-chain transactions on this FriendTech. So let me see. But this is going to be taking me to a dashboard. Okay, yeah, it's taking me to FriendTech. It's just analyzing the person address for me. So you can see that even from there, I was able to understand or to get the total value of token the person is holding. So you can see how good these tools are. So from here now, I can see your address. Seeing your address, I can see your Twitter username. I can see your investment. I can see. So when we're looking at all these things, it is also important for us to also understand that this particular solution is giving us a decentralized platform, but at the same time, it is already linking back to a centralized solution. So at the end of the day, or in the future, we need to be very careful. If you are doing anything on blockchain, it can be linked back to you. So that is one thing we need to understand about the way crypto is going, because right now data is available for everybody to check. I already know your address, I know your Twitter username, I know the amount you invested. So for me, this is not like fully decentralized because it is linking back to someone, and it's cool actually, because if we all can, you know, see who is behind each transaction, it tends to reduce scam, it tends to reduce manipulation. So we know where to point finger, or we know who to point finger at. So this is one of the benefits of on-chain analysis. So now, there are a lot of things we can do with this thing, but tonight, like I said, we'll just keep it short so that the next class we'll pick on a project to completely analyze, and from our analysis, we will determine if it is good to invest in that particular project or not. We are going to be doing it together. So, like what we've learned is simple, because one of the things we want to use on-chain analysis to do is, let's see what the price support of a project is going to be, when to buy, when not to buy. That is very important. And we also, like, I'm not going to be diving into what we are going to be using Ansel for tonight. So but Ansel is like, the main thing for us to use it to do is to analyze um to,
Hello.
okay. Yeah, I think I got disconnected, but I'm back. All right, so we are going to be going to the last phase now. I will share my screen again. Got disconnected, I don't know why. Okay, so now the last two we will be checking. I will drop the link for both, for us to check, for us to have some basic, let's just call it basic overview of how all these things work. We can just do our own personal search on it before our next class, so it will help us to be on the same line, because some of us are getting to know about this for the first time, or we are just getting to understand how on-chain analysis work, but it is Sorry, I'm really sorry for the break. Like, I think maybe because of my VPN or because of my what was it called? I don't know why it is interrupting me to continue to display my screen. So don't worry. Like tonight I've been interesting, and I've been able to just show us a few things because I want us to just review it, go through what we've talked about, so that next class it will be much more interactive. And I don't want to bombard us with what all these things are all about. I don't want us to, just put or convince ourselves, because these are like technical approach towards knowing how to be profitable, knowing when to get into a trade, knowing when to get out of a trade. And when once we have these tools, and once we know how to do all these analysis ourselves, it makes life very, very easy. And I'm sure that we all actually learn one or two things from our discussion tonight. So I'll just give it out there for anyone who is having any question concerning what have been said so far, before we move to our next ending discussion. Yeah. So is there anyone having question?
Yes, I have a question.
All right, go ahead, please, Pascal.
Okay. Concerning this analysis, can we be able to track a data, on-chain data from where that is from a decentralized exchange then to a centralized exchange? Can we be able to make a guess of what is happening or the movement between this decentralized to a centralized exchange? What the funds that is moving there? Can we be able to know what is going on?
All right, thank you so much, Pascal. Like, we can only analyze decentralized exchange data. When a data move into a centralized exchange, then it becomes closed. Like, the data is already closed. Like, for example, this is what gives exchanges opportunity to spend our money without us knowing. Because once our money enter into centralized exchange, everything gets to be in their control. So you never know if it is your money they are spending or if it is their own. But if it is a decentralized exchange data, you can monitor everything happening on that data. And thank God, like, since social finance is coming in play, you can even attach the person behind an address to a social profile. So it makes it much more, transparent. It makes it much more pointing at where transactions are going, pointing at where transactions are coming from. So, Pascal, to answer your question, it is no. We can't monitor or have any on-chain analysis done on a centralized exchange data because it is closed.
But does it signify that if the data is moving to a centralized exchange, it signifies that the person wants to sell, or what does it mean?
Okay, like a centralized exchange, this is what happened. We can analyze some data on centralized exchange, but when it comes to you analyzing maybe personal data, it is only when it is being provided by the exchange, because they are not making it public for consumption. Just like you asking me, can I analyze your banking transaction? It is not possible, because you are the only one that have access to your transaction when you request for your bank statement. So it is the same thing when it comes to centralized exchange. Like, but a bank can come out and tell us that, okay, this month, so number of people invested, they saved their money, so number of people withdraw their money, so number of volume were generated. So the same thing happens to centralized exchange as well. So centralized exchange have similar, features with our normal banking system, just that they are dealing with cryptocurrency. I
Oh,
think past yeah,
yeah,
Adam, you
yeah.
get it. Okay,
Yes, I get it.
okay, cool. So basically, when we are talking about on-chain analysis, on-chain data, we are talking about complete decentralized blockchain activities. So there we are, trying to do our researches. We are trying to get information about what is happening on transactions on it. And don't forget, we talk about something called off-chain. We also we also have data that are off-chain. So an example of off-chain data are like the type of data happening on centralized exchanges. So the type of data happening on layer 2 uh, blockchains. So when you look at it, you notice that um, all this particular type of off-chain data, they seems to be more faster. They are always faster. They are always cheaper because at that particular point they are able to uh, you know perform bulk transactions at a time. Like for example, on Binance now, Binance can send out money to a lot of different addresses in a single transactions at once. So it tends to reduce the gas fee, and they can also reduce the amount of gas fee you'll be paying for transaction, which is not actually that much possible on our normal on-chain data. If you want to transfer data out, it is always going to be costing you gas fee, which are more expensive than off-chain data. So we need to understand that as well. So I believe we've been able to grab a lot of things tonight. Do we have any other question before we, you know, have further discussion or give us our wrap up take? Okay, cool. So I'm going to be ending the recording so that people that are going to be watching us on YouTube will be able to, have a very short video to learn from. And at this junction, I want all of us to also, if you feel like we miss any part on what we have been talking about, I would like us to check on our YouTube video when this is uploaded. Try to give us comments, likes, and turn on our notification. We're always giving out contents that are useful and important. So, and also don't forget to engage on our social media pages like on our Twitter. Make sure you engage on them, and don't forget about Safuu points, which are rewarded for being active participants in on this particular platform. So you have to be very active. You comment, you like, you get rewarded in Safuu points. Our mobile application launch dates will be released very soon, and we'll be having like anyone who wants to be part of our in-house tester. If you want to be part of people testing the application for us, we'll bring out the form so you can be part of it. It is cool because we can play game together. Very soon we'll start playing game together on this application. We start making money on it. There are a lot of activities on it. I don't really want to dive into tonight, but once we launch the application, you love what we are building. It will be available on both Android and iOS. So let us just anticipate and continue to support the project as we all move uh forward. So yeah, I'm going to be just I'll have to wrap up for people watching us on YouTube. Thank you for every viewer and everyone that have been present tonight.